Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Currently Kent. Today on my table I got the Fantex Enthoo Elite case. I'm going to be taking it out of the box and taking it apart and just kind of showing you, giving you a brief overview of everything that comes inside, along with a little bit of a look at the case and maybe a plan for the future of how I intend to build inside of this, so stick around. All right, switching to a little overhead view here. I got the case on a table, on a desk, and we just want to talk about, I guess, maybe initial impressions here. So this case itself comes inside of a flight case. I put a yardstick up here, and I made some little indications here for our friends who are using metric. It's basically an entire yard wide and about 0.91 meters is what that roughly converts to. So let me get this out of the way. Both sides have these handles on either side of it. I'm a pretty big dude, and I can really not get my arms around this in a way to where I can actually pick it up. So this is probably one of the first things that I've ever had that shows up that says that, hey, you need a team lift. You need to be able to have two people to lift this thing up, and it's pretty well true. I'm gonna use these locks over here, get these opened up. And once the locks are opened up, we can lift up the lid. There we have it. And then inside you get this giant foam pad, which then next you're greeted with this handy card that tells you basically how you're supposed to get it out of the case itself, the case outside of the case. So they want you to take out this foam piece, lay it down, use two people to help you lift it up out of the case, and then basically you're meant to work with the case standing up vertically on it as you're working on it. So that's kind of the way that they've designed it and the way that they intend for you to go about working on this case. So I'm gonna do my very best to get it up out of here and hopefully have it set down somewhere where we can take a look at it from the front and maybe go around, do a little bit of a tour of what else is inside the box here. So bear with me, I'll be right back. All right, hopefully this isn't crowding the frame here too much, but I've got the case here on the side now. I'll open that up in just a second once we get a little better angle. Then inside the actual case itself, we get this box here. Tells you the company that comes from Fantex. So I'm gonna set this aside and open that up here in a little bit. And then also this is where you find your user manual. And there's a cleaning cloth in there. And also, this was kind of cool, I thought. So let me take it up out of here. There's two different things inside the bag. The first one, as I mentioned, the user manual, and in typical Fantex fashion on their, Enthoo, I believe, line of cases, you're gonna get a pretty in-depth, full-color user manual. Show you basically everything that is possible with the case, and of course lists some optional accessories that you could purchase through Fantex later. Cleaning cloth. Look at that. I didn't even know that it had the Fantex logo on the side of it there. That's pretty cool. And then this guy we get out of the box, or out of the bag, and it just says Enthoo Elite on there. And then we get a little thank you for choosing Fantex and run through some nice quality photography here. So you get a look at maybe the machining process in making this case. A couple of the accessories that come on the side, a la carte, that you can buy. Some photos of the case itself. So just something fun to look at. So yeah, basically now I've already had both of my kids ask if they could maybe try to fit inside of this box after I was done with it. So yeah, probably. I mean, this thing's massive. So I'm gonna close this up. I'm gonna try to get this case set up vertically so we can get a little look at it and take it apart, kind of look at what all you get with the accessories box. And so yeah, we'll do that now. Okay, so I managed to get it out of the box. Standing next to it here, I go about 6 foot tall. This table's, pretty standard desk height, I think 28 inches or something like that. And you can see how high it stands up here. It's a big old case. I just recently got this Lazy Susan as well, so it's making its debut here on the channel. It's a little bit loud, but I mean, we'll cut it a little slack. It's holding up this giant case for us so we can spin it around, hopefully get some looks at every angle. But I suppose first order of business, just kind of looking at it. It's pretty incredible. So I'm going to take off this glass panel now, and then we'll look at what's inside of it. All right, so the glass panel's been removed, and the first thing that I noticed when I got this open was that there's another box here. It says Enthoo Elite on it, so pull this guy out. This is another accessory pack to go along with the one that we already pulled out when you first opened the case. And then kind of get a look around on the inside here. We've got 140mm fans, so far I can see, and there's 5 of them, so we get 3 up here in the front. There's another one here in the top, and then one here at the back of the case. Cables are all pre-routed, so I'll check here in a second to see if those are PWM or DC fans. Obviously, kind of a massive amount of space in here. This is a cardboard aided design piece that I made for my motherboard. So this is your standard ATX motherboard in size, and just to give you some idea what we're working with here as far as size goes is, yeah, that's how much room is left after the motherboard will already be inside of the case. Then there's some more foam protection pieces in here, so those are what we're holding this accessory pack in. I think I'm going to go over the accessories list and boxes here next, so we'll take a look at those, get them kind of spread out on the table so we can see what all you get with the rest of the case. Then after that, I'll take it apart, kind of show you what else you can do with the case. All right, so first one I'll open is the one that was already inside the case. First thing I see, this is a PCIe riser cable, and I believe this is a Gen 3 cable that comes with it. Next thing I'm seeing is a 5 1/4 inch drive bay, optional attachment there. Got some locations here to be able to mount it on the side of the case like so. I won't be doing that, but it is available there if that's something that you're into and you're looking at this case. And then again, another pretty typical item from Fantex are these awesome screw organizer trays. Basically all of the stuff that you would ever need inside of a build. It's inside this case. It's all separated in their own little compartments. You can use this even after you're done building in it. Next up is, this is a vertical GPU bracket. Thing that makes this one a little bit unique though is that it has a section here for 2 graphics cards. I know here in 2023 we're not really running SLI or Crossfire too much, but this was something, I guess, back when this case was out, that was pretty popular and something that was in demand, so it replaces the original PCIe slot configuration, and we'll go in and you'll be able to mount your graphics card vertically. Which is also one of the reasons why the riser cable was included. Next up, we've got a bag full of other accessories. So inside of this bag, we've got the EPS cable extension, because the power supply is going to be all the way down in the bottom of the case, and you got to get that cable all the way up to the top corner over there. So Fantex were thinking ahead and put a extension cable in already for you. And yeah, this is pretty cool actually. That's nice. They're individually sleeved cables, so they took a little bit of extra time, effort, and money to give you a nice set of sleeved extension cables there for that. This looks to be an RGB extension cable and splitter. We've got some Velcro ties, some zip ties, and I'm assuming this is going to be another extension of some sort. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, these are basically the Fantex extensions for Fantex RGB products. And then we get a little little Fantex case badge here. And there's a little small bracket in here. I'm trying to remember what this is for. I looked through the manual. Maybe I'll check again. If it's anything important, I'll make sure to make note of it here in a second. Let's get through the rest of this box though. Accessories. These are hard drive caddies. And then you get these sleds, which can be mounted in several different locations inside the case. You get, let me count these up real quick here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 of those. And here we have, these are the solid state drive caddies, solid state drive mounts. You get 2 of those. I believe there's 3 already pre-installed in the back as well. And, another Fantex badge that's already out of the bag. Okay, that's weird. Anyway. And then this additional piece here can be installed in the rear chamber of the case. You've got some mounting positions for, I don't know, I suppose you would do drives or one of their fan hubs or a controller of some sort. They market basically a power splitter, so that way if you had 2 systems running inside this case, which it is capable of doing, if you had 2 systems running, they have like basically a power splitter, so that it would be able to take from your power supply and dole power out to both of the motherboards and systems that were inside your case. So that's the big box there. I'm going to pack this back up and then we'll open up the other box because I am out of room on this table. Okay, so I found it here. I guess that tiny little piece that I was talking about, and I wasn't really sure what it was. Here in the manual it says that it is part of the dual system bracket. So it's a tiny little piece, goes for the dual system bracket. And so that's what that was. Let's get into this other accessory box here. Okay, here we go with the next accessory box. The first thing, this is the tray for your ITX motherboard. It would go basically here in the case. And I've got a magnetic filter right here, I believe. Let me spin this around. I believe this magnetic filter is meant for if you are to be removing this section of the back panel, and you can install fans and radiators in this location here, so they give you a nice filter for that. Then there's another bracket in here. It goes in the same spot right here. Once I get the case open, I'll offer it up so you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. But here we have another nice bracket, and it is for this side, I believe, is kind of like your standard pump mount, pump and reservoir mount over there, and then you've got space for more fans and or radiator on this section as well. And then this piece goes for the top of the case. So you're able to do a few different configurations from Fantex there. So on the top here, basically there is an air filter, magnetic again, and then the panel comes pre-installed with a piece that has airflow available for you. But then you can install this piece on top to replace all of that, and then you'll be what they call the silence mode of the case. So really nice. This whole, pretty much every piece of this case is 4mm thick aluminum. So I mean, not really messing around, and that's why it's so heavy. That's why they want you to have a buddy to help you lift this thing up and get it out of the case. I'm gonna get my screwdriver out. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer onto camera. I'm gonna take it all apart, and we'll be able to just kind of get it all taken apart and look at everything that's inside, and what can be done, and the different options that you get inside of this case. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is take off the remaining panels. So we're gonna start here with the top panel. There's 2 thumb screws here on the back. They are not captive to my knowledge, so I've got my little my little magnetic screw tray here to help me keep things at least a little bit organized, hopefully. Panel just pulls back and lifts away. Yep. And we see here the button on the top. This is a power button. So you can see there's one symbol here and two on this side. This is again for the dual system functionality. So you can power on either the first system or the second system with the press of this button. And now the front panel has two additional thumb screws on them. And I believe these are not necessary for you to use after you unpack the case. I could be wrong on that, but let's just see what happens after we get these guys off. Okay, and away with the front panel. My goodness, this is a massive front panel. Actually, I'm a little bit shocked. I mean, I'm standing here next to the case, but taking the front panel off just is making me realize this thing is absolutely huge. I mean, full arm length for me for the front panel. And here we see those three 140mm fans up in the front. I believe the official listed spec for radiator fitment total length, I believe it says that it's a 560mm radiator possible up in the front. I believe it. I won't be doing anything more than a 480mm radiator in this case, but nice to know the support's there if you needed it. Let's get this back panel off as well. Looks like our back panel actually has captive thumb screws on it. Happy about that. This thing, again, very, very heavy. For a back panel to be 4mm thick aluminum, yeah, you'd expect it to be pretty heavy. So again, this section here is where you have some more availability to mount other things that you would like fans or radiators. We've got some thumb screws here. Take this piece away. Then you're able to remove the section on this side of the panel. You can see the outline for it there. Then a power supply dust filter got here at the bottom. And I guess we can start from this side of the case, the business side of the case. Right off the bat, we've got a couple different controllers over here. These are both PWM fan splitters. It appeared to me the included fans are not PWM and that they would be voltage controlled. I'm not going to be using them anyway, but just for anybody who was planning on doing that. Then, yeah, several Velcro tie-down locations. Good amount of room here in the back for clearance with cables being able to be ran wherever you'd like them to. Of course, our USB front panel connections and a couple SATA power connections here for the case's internal and built-in lighting. Then, I believe it's an HDMI cable. Yeah, it's an HDMI cable. So we see these two SSD caddies, the 2.5-inch caddies here on the back side, already pre-installed with the 3 that you get, total of 5. And then down here in the basement, we have 2 of these. And yeah, so down here in the basement, you've got these pre-installed pump brackets, pump mounts. We've got a nice rubber cushion here and several different cutouts so you're able to mount. It's supposed to be universal, but I've yet to find a universal pump bracket, but you get 2 of these included. Down here in the basement, we got grommets for all the cable pass-through locations there. Some additional tie-down points for cables should the Velcro straps not be enough, but they're going to be. The way that Fantex makes cases that I've used in the past is they think really far ahead, think through for you to be able to cleanly route and manage your cables, which is really nice. I guess I failed to mention there's a power supply mount down here. It's got 4 plastic stands that have a nice soft rubber on them there. Now let's move on to the front of the case. Pretty large front panel section here. As you can imagine, if you're doing dual systems, you need kind of a lot of options. So we've got 4 USB Gen 2 ports up top. Looks like there's a USB Type-C, and there's that HDMI port that I was talking about. You've got 2 sets of microphone and headphone jacks. Then there are some buttons for restart, and then there's this wheel over here. It's a scrolling wheel that you can actually also push in. That's to help you control the case lighting. Of course, you can also hook that up to your motherboard and control it that way, or whatever RGB controller you might be using. So next, this was something that I saw that was cool from somebody who reviewed this case years ago, but you might wonder, you know, you get a case like this, and what are these holes doing over here on the side? Well, that is meant for you to be able to get your screwdriver in and easily remove the thumb screws that are over here on the PCIe slots, which I'm a huge fan of that. That's something that I always struggle with. I tend to drop these pretty much every time that I use them installing a graphics card or taking one out. Guess we'll switch over to rear of the case. So on the back of the case, 120, 140 millimeter fan mount back there. Then your, you know, motherboard I/O cutout, PCIe slots here. This section here is actually removable. If you remove this panel, that means that you are going to be using the dual system functionality. And then your bottom ITX motherboard I/O will be right here, and the graphics card for that would be there. Then they have a section down here for your secondary GPU or secondary power supply. So there's a spot for 2 power supplies there. That's the rear of the case. The top of the case, got a couple buttons up here which tie to the top panel, allowing you to start the first and or second system. And then a nice radiator bracket up here. All right, so there is the top radiator bracket removed. You can see you've got 120 and 140 millimeter based fan cutouts and rails. I guess there's some other optional mounting holes here. I can only assume that's for 80 millimeter fans or 90 millimeter fans, but who's doing that? That's completely removable. And I would go ahead and say at this point that that is going to be toolless after the initial removal of the factory tightened thumb screws that are here in the top. By the way, this bracket that's on top here, I believe the maximum radiator support listed is for a 480 millimeter radiator. In fact, I've got one over there, so I guess that would probably be pretty good time for me to go grab it and let's see. All right, so here we are with my trusty 45 millimeter thick Alpha Cool. I believe it's XT45, the name of this one. It's a 480 millimeter radiator, and yeah, 480 fits there pretty easily. Kind of like it was meant to fit there. So out of curiosity, let's see, when we put the 480 millimeter radiator here at the front of the case, yeah, that's definitely going to fit a 560 up there. I've got plenty of room over the top of this 480 already, which is crazy to me. 480 millimeter radiators are already pretty rare, so 560 being able to fit up there is pretty awesome. Okay, now down on the bottom, got another radiator bracket down here. All right, so I've got this other radiator bracket here in the bottom. I believe I'm gonna have to remove this thumb screw. Get it? Yep. So this is pretty cool. The way that it fits here in the bottom is after you remove the thumb screw out of the back here that I just removed, you basically press the radiator bracket forward and you can lift it out. So that's nice. Again, let's just check to see how our 480 fits on there. Hey, like it was made for it. Perfect. Get that radiator bracket back inside. Press it down, slide it back into position. Great. So there's that. Next, we've got a mid-plate section right here, and that's going to require me to remove some of these screws. All right, so 3 screws come away from the front, and then you're able to remove this mid-plate section here. And you've got an additional 2 screws along the same rail here to remove the second section here of this mid-plate. Okay, well that's a slight annoyance, I guess. I'm going to need to raise these fans or remove this bottom fan in order to get the panel out of here. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I've made the necessary adjustments here and removed some screws so I can slide these front fans up enough and pop out this other. Basically, this is the 2 panels that make up the mid-plate. And here down on the bottom, there is additional mounting points for fans and radiators. I believe the listed support there, at least just for fans, we got enough space here for 3 120 millimeter fans. I'm guessing you could probably get 3 140s down there, but again, just if I offer up this 480 millimeter radiator here, it would be installed there with ease. it actually gets kind of gobbled up by the case. So plenty of room for that. He's got these Fantex, this big old sliding panel over here, which is to allow you to have some flexibility in mounting behind each one of these little cable covers. I think you can probably see, yeah, these are aluminum as well. Behind these cable covers, you've got some location to where you could mount some solid state drives, the 2.5-inch solid state drives there, as well as put in those brackets that were in the accessory box for hard drives. Those could go in there. It looks like 2 per, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, so you could potentially mount 8 3.5-inch hard drives there. And there you have basically as stripped down as I can get the inside of this guy, inside of this case. Actually, there's a little bit more work we can do. We can take this entire panel out here. I'm gonna figure out how to do that and show you how I did it. On the back side of the case here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 thumb screws. So I'm assuming I take those off and this panel will come away. Well, that is slick. Okay, so yeah, remove those 4 thumb screws, then slide the tray all the way over as far to the right as you can, so it can go all the way here to the left. So slide it all the way as far over to the right as you can. And then there's actually the cutouts to lift it out. And yeah, here we have the removable and slidable mounting panel, which is where this panel is able to be installed in its place. I'm not going to be able to get it in first try just here live on camera, but rest assured that's where it goes. That's going to basically wrap it up for just the unboxing, teardown, overall kind of first impressions of the Enthoo Elite from Fantex. The next video that you'll see will be basically a time-lapse build video of me making what'll be my new daily inside of this case. And then third video I plan to do is basically going to break down and detail all of the modifications of things that I've got planned. Yeah, a little explainer video will be the third one. So appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.